Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing a fun, easy video for you guys if you are like me and you want or are just, basically you're wanting a tie-dye shirt. That's what we made in today's video. This color is the shade tan. There's a bunch of different options to choose from. I personally have never really been totally into the tie-dye until I started seeing these very muted colors. I love them, like not too crazy bright. Who knows, maybe we'll get there soon. But this is the shirt that I made today. It's a color tan, and if you guys want to see how I did this a tie-dye super fun project that you can do if you want to do it, you know, with somebody else, your partner in the household, or if you have kids, you can even, you know, do some other colors if they want brighter ones as well. Super duper fun. So check out how I created this super easy, cute tie-dye shirt.
All right, so for this project, what you're gonna need is a face towel or white paper towels, some rubber bands, gloves. These are just inexpensive dish towel gloves that I got. Hot water, so this is important, hot water, as well as some dish soap, your dye of choice. I use the RIT brand, and then a squeeze bottle and a wet, damp apparel that you're going to dye. So what I went ahead and did first was take that RIT dye in the shade tan, and I'm gonna basically just figure out the color adjustment here. So I'm gonna play with how dark, how light I want it, and you know, just kind of keep adding a little bit more of the dye. Then we're gonna add just a little bit, just see how much. Échale el ojo, like that, just a little sprinkle of some Dawn dish soap for this mixture here. I think it just kind of either helps like dilute it or just kind of helps embed that dye. I'm not really sure what the dish soap does, but everybody uses dish soap. Next, with the face towel or any just little towel that you have that you're going to use for tie-dye stuff. Basically, this is a test out how the dye is going to look on your piece of clothing, how light, how dark. So first things here, I was like, oh, that is way too light. So now I'm just going to be going back and forth and adjusting the dye color. And as you're doing this, I would definitely say maybe go a little bit darker than maybe the color that you want, because I feel like it does kind of lighten up a bit. But as you see, a little bit more color, and still I want it just a wee bit darker. Honestly, this is all just going to come down to color preference, and I think that shade was okay, but I want to go a little bit darker because once again we're going to wash it, and I feel it just kind of lightens up a little bit. So go back and forth until you get the color adjustment that you want, which is why I feel like doing the test on a towel and or paper towel. But I feel like a towel is just going to be a little bit more similar. It's going to give you the real effect as it would on the piece of clothing. So highly suggest, you know, using a face towel that you're probably not gonna, you're just gonna throw away or whatever. So this took me a while. Also, I feel like I had way more water than I actually needed, and I'll talk about that a little bit more and how to basically figure out how much water you need based on the amount of items you're gonna dye or what item you're gonna dye in general too. But eventually I got the dye color that I wanted, and this can take some time. You can measure out for, you know, next time as well. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my crew neck sweatshirt. So this is cotton, and you can basically scrunch method, which is what I'm going to do. I like the scrunch method because I prefer the way that it looks, a little bit more splattered tie-dye. You can do the swirl method. That's not my favorite tie-dye method or the favorite tie-dye pattern, but I'm going to go ahead and scrunch the shirt so that I can begin to tie-dye. The tighter you scrunch it, the less of the dye that you're going to have around. The looser, the more dye you're going to have. So now when you kind of get the form of the scrunch that you want, I'm going in with some rubber bands, and this is basically going to hold it in place. So while you're kind of squeezing with the bottle, you're not basically dyeing the whole shirt. You're trying to get just around where you scrunch. So use maybe 2-3 rubber bands, however many you need, how big or how small the shirt is, and go ahead and basically hold your kind of like pattern in place. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take that squeeze bottle, and we're going to fill that up with your dye, your jar. And it's nice to kind of just have the jar to have like your full amount of how many items you're going to dye, so that basically you don't have to readjust and do the color again that you want, especially if you're maybe doing a set like a top and a bottom. So you just have that jug to refill. Then just go ahead, go to town and start squeezing the dye. Something that I've learned as I've been doing this more, I did another set of items, and honestly, just if you have it already scrunched and tied up, just go ahead and go to town and really just get everything covered. Next, what I am doing is I'm just checking to see how it's going. So a lot of people maybe prefer not to take off their rubber bands, but I personally suggest it just so you can kind of see exactly where you need more dye. Depending, basically this is your personal project, how you like it. I personally prefer more dye than like white space or whatever the color of the shirt is. I like bigger splotches, bigger patterns, so I suggest opening up your dye product and just kind of scrunching by hand manually and adding through there. So, that's a great way to kind of just spot check and adjust where you need it. And then also don't forget to turn it around and do the back side as well. But basically, this is how I like to do it. And I think you're going to know what the finished result is. It's just a little bit better. Then just go ahead and retie it back up with the rubber bands. Now once you've got everything spot checked and everything where you kind of want it, and then finally we're just going to go ahead and roll it up into the garbage bag. So I had layers and layers of garbage bags, so basically I can just tie them up, and then when I moved on to the next clothing piece, I then just tied it up with the next trash bag underneath it. I didn't show the other clothing pieces because one of them was a pair of polyester pants, which is actually a fail. Don't do polyester. Use cotton as much as possible. Polyester, it just turned into a brown pair of pants. It didn't hold anything.
Okay, so essentially I waited about maybe like 20 to 22 hours. I let my tie-dye kind of just sit in the bag. You can do anywhere from like 8 hours and up if you want, maybe 5. And all I did was I rinsed it out in cold water, and then I threw it in the wash in the cold, and then I dried it, and I did the lowest level dry just in case, because sometimes shirts tend to shrink, and in general I don't dry my shirts. I just don't, just to kind of save them a little bit. But I did in the lowest heat, one, because I was just very impatient. I wanted to try it on. I wanted to check it out. But if you just want to hang dry, you can totally do that as well. But this is the result, and I think next what I'm going to do is try to add a little bit more dye. So I want to make it a little bit darker. So something that I kind of learned from my first trial is essentially how much water I actually need, and it's really not that much. So the tip that I have for you, if you're not sure, if you have the same size type of squeeze bottle that I had, which I'll have linked in the description box, basically a little bit less than a full bottle is good for both sides of the shirt that I did today. So that's kind of what I didn't know. So I used way more water probably than I needed to. So I would definitely just fill up those squeeze bottles with the water first and throw them in your jug. So if you just gonna make one shirt, then just do like one squeeze bottle's worth, and then kind of play with the dye that way. I had a bunch of dye left over. So this time I love this shade though. It's really nice, but I want to see if it can be a little bit darker, and this is the shade tan. The other color that I did buy was the charcoal gray. So let me know if you guys want to see something with the charcoal gray. I want to try the charcoal gray on a white as well as on like an ash gray and kind of see what that does. So I'll probably be doing some tie-dye, and maybe eventually I'll just get so into it. And if you guys want, maybe you don't want to make it yourself, because it's pretty easy. More than anything, it's just the patience for it. And I know a lot of people don't have patience for like these DIY projects like I do, but maybe hit me up, DM me, and let me know, and I can make it for you and ship it out that way if you kind of want it. And I basically wanted to make my own tie-dye stuff because tie-dye is super popular, but they are charging an arm and a leg for these things. So I want to charge you an arm and a leg. And so if you want to do that, let me know as well. But super fun, and I can't wait to kind of show you guys on my Instagram all the other new tie-dye colors and kind of pantsuit sets that I do as well. But thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you all next time.